So my passion is financial education. The key is understanding the life you want and allowing them to dream about what's possible. It's coaching. I think it's behavioral psychology actually as well, but it's asking those powerful questions. We encourage our clients to spend, but spend at the right time. Is wealth gives you choices, gives you options.
I'm Phoebe Stone and this is Connected Capital. To keep up to date with the rest of the Connected Capital series, please visit our website via the link below or head to our Spotify and YouTube channels. Today I'm joined by Gary Neal. Gary, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege and an honour to be here, so thank you for including me.
No problem. And Gary, we've worked together for almost a decade now. And I've always been really inspired by your approach to financial advice and the way that you work with clients. As a financial advisor, you are naturally sitting with the client and helping them connect with lots of different spheres, lots of different opportunities and ways of understanding their wealth. Could you just start by talking to me about what you think the role and the responsibility of a financial planner is?
Well, I think it's to impart confidence, really, because it's all about confidence, because the people's relationship with money can be quite complex, very deep-rooted, often down to their upbringing. And people really are, what I find is people are, their glass is half full, or half empty, should I say. They need to be half full and more. It needs to be brimming. So our job is to enthuse clients, to encourage clients to dream about what's possible, but to really create an emotional connection to the numbers. Too often there's jargon in our industry. People have got policies they don't understand, don't know what it means. How can it influence their lives? But in a positive way. So what we try and do is create a positive relationship to the numbers. So we always say to a client, the important thing is knowing your number. How much do you need and when to live the life you want with confidence that you're never going to run out of money? The key is understanding the life you want and allowing them to dream about what's possible.
So it's such a sort of almost romantic way of thinking about wealth and thinking about their money. Do you find that people take that approach by surprise? Does it surprise clients when you talk to them in these terms?
Yeah, because you can't turn it around completely, because they're still anchored. Of course, they still have deeper relationships with that money, positive or negative. As I say, a lot of it is negative. But if they know their number, and what we do, we measure their minimum requirement to make sure they don't run out of money. What's their requirement in terms of their returns from their portfolios? But also, what's possible? So what's the return required to live the life they want? So it's living the life they want, because I think it's fair to say, well, perhaps a bit conditioned by the press, by the media, and it's really breaking out of that. It's not about conforming to what other people want you to do or how you want to live. What do you want to do? So it's almost like it's coaching. I think it's behavioral psychology actually as well, but it's asking those powerful questions, because actually I think so many people in our profession traditionally have not asked those powerful questions and don't see it through the lens of the client. But once you understand, then you get the powerful answers back, then you know what you're working with, and then you can inform, educate, and if they're educated, the more empowered, and then the more confident, and then you start to see the behaviours turn. So it does take a while.
Yeah, it's I think it's very interesting to attribute such a broad definition to wealth. It's not necessarily a quantified definition. It's much more about what it can allow you as a person to do with your time and your life.
Yeah, and when we talk to clients about this, sometimes I'll ask clients, do they think they're rich? Now, what is rich? And it's,
or what is wealth?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And wealth to me, I suppose my simple and crude definition is wealth gives you choices, gives you options. Actually, what I often say is, make sure that the levers of life are facing you. They're not facing away from you, because there's a lot of effort to try and pull those back. And you probably never do that. But with coaching and mentoring, we can get these levers facing you, and then you're in charge. So you're not on the treadmill, life's not humdrum. Life's exciting. It really is important to make sure you enjoy your money whilst you've got good health, which may be a little bit odd for a financial advisory practice where you're supposed to be accumulating assets. We encourage our clients to spend, but spend at the right time, which is important. But, be responsible, and I'm not just talking about sustainability here, but be responsible so actually you can sleep at night and then you can wake up and think, right, I'm in charge. That's really what it's about.
And you talk about your passion being financial education, financial awareness. Can you just talk about the transition you made from being a teacher and going into the financial advice profession?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a transition. I plunged, I think. And so
Wim Hof style.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I did my teacher training in Liverpool, so it was a baptism of fire, but I loved it. And then I went to rugby league country, St Helens, and moved down to Birmingham and ended up in Bournemouth, which isn't a bad place to work. But I got frustrated. I loved the teaching and I loved making a difference, and that's carried on into my life now. And with changes in the business, as you know, perhaps we'll talk about. But I'm still really enthused and really empowered to make that difference. So that was very much my essence. But when, I suppose to be fair, there was changes in the teaching profession, unions became quite prevalent, there was withdrawal of goodwill, and I was going, this is impacting children's education. So rather than moan about it, I thought I'd do something about it. But it's ironically, just before I left teaching, and I was going to be a mortgage broker, which I ended up doing, no qualifications, no idea, and within 2 weeks I was giving clients advice. That's how bad it was. It was the Wild West in those days. But they deemed me to be professional because of where I'd come from, and so things, I progressed in the profession. But it was quite interesting. Just before I left teaching, I actually was recommended to a financial advisor, and I thought, little did I know, because I knew nothing, I thought he was going to give me a plan, tell me what I needed to do, and talk about me, and then actually connect my view of the future with the numbers and what I needed to do to make that come alive. And he didn't. Of course, he tried to sell me something, gave me lots of bump, but it was all about their company, nothing about giving me tools to help me. It was nothing about financial education. So it's somewhat ironic that I ended up doing the financial planning and being such an advocate of it, but often it's born out of those little seeds, isn't it, that happen, and it just stuck with me. And I thought, I could do this much better. Because teaching actually is about imparting sometimes complicated information and distilling it in a way which people can understand and make sure it's relevant. And also there's other things I learned, always be consistent. Children will find you out if you're not. So always be consistent. Ensure that you're giving a clear message. Don't assume anything. But also make sure you're listening to your audience, you're engaging with your audience, you're asking those questions, because it will just help you on your journey, and it gives you credibility, but it's more fulfilling all round, I think. So it was quite an interesting, I think I learned more than children, actually.
You clearly demonstrate such a passion for financial awareness and financial education. And since then, you've very successfully launched and run your own business for many years. But it goes further than you just running a successful financial advisor firm. You interact with the community and you really prioritize increasing understanding around financial education. Can you just talk about some of the work that you do further than Blue Sky?
Yeah, I suppose again, born out of when I met that financial advisor, I didn't know anything. And actually I didn't know too much after I'd met him either. And I thought, this is so frustrating. And but you start to talk to people in my capacity as a mortgage broker, and I think people know very little. And really, in order to function in adult society, surely, in my opinion, education, you need to teach people about money so that they can operate effectively and efficiently in adult society. So I think it's fundamental. So I was thinking, right, okay, well, I need to help these people. I just thought it was part of my force for good. And so I used to go into schools, and I used to hold programs in middle schools, and teachers were really supportive. It was great. And I thought, middle schools are peculiar to Dorset, actually, and it's up to the age of 14. And so I then thought I'd do it in secondary schools, but of course I thought, oh, children would be a bit older, look at sixth formers as well. But the rub was that the teachers weren't engaged as much as I thought they could have been. But it's because of the demands of the curriculum, which I do understand. So actually it was lip service, which was really frustrating. On saying that, I ended up coaching or mentoring a number of individuals, students, which was great, which was really fulfilling. But I thought I could make a real difference. And I did make a difference, but I wasn't as impactful as I thought I could have been. But it was the structure. So I'm passionate about financial education in schools. And I think it's got a long way to go personally.
But you've also been involved in the community, haven't you, in a social enterprise working with access to law and other services?
Yeah, people thought I was a bit mad. I set up a coffee lounge. The idea was to be a hub, a social hub, part of the community, but also to offer pathways for tax, legal, accountancy, financial advice. Because actually what happens and what I learned through my job is that inertia rules. And it's really difficult because if you don't know something, or then you read about something, or something adverse, somebody said something to you, you tend to be paralyzed again. So what I want to do is for people to strike out and just seek advice, and then suddenly can get rid of lots of stress and anxiety. And it was a real success because people who became members of the coffee lounge were then able to vote for good causes, where any profits went into good causes in the community. And so we were a community interest company. So there was no benefit to me. In fact, actually, I'll put my neck on the line and with a liability, but I just felt that we could do a lot more. And that's really successful. I'm pleased to say, although I passed that on, it's still going in that guise, which is brilliant. I'm really chuffed to have that legacy, you know.
Yeah. And that legacy also extends to the structure of your business, which you recently turned into an employee-owned trust.
Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about what an EOT is and why that was a key decision for you?
Okay, so I was 100% shareholder of the business, and I had to think of my own succession plan. Well, I've still got lots of energy, verve and passion for it. But I thought, as you should evaluate all the possibilities. So I set off on that road, and I had some awful conversations with people. It was just about the numbers. And I'm saying, hardly anyone mentioned financial planning.
The valuation of the business, yeah.
It's just about numbers, private equity.
Yeah, sure.
But, and I had 2 offers on the table at different times, and they were really attractive offers. But it's strange, really. Within 5 seconds of those offers, my enthusiasm for them dissipated because you listen to your heart and your gut. And actually, it wasn't about me, and I've never actually thought it was about me. So somebody said to me the other day, it's not about the money for you, Gary, is it? And once a teacher, always a teacher. And he goes, I don't mean the profession, but if you can empower people, I use that word again, and you can make a difference, that's what gets you out of bed. And that's how I felt. And I had a responsibility to my clients, but I also had a responsibility to my team. And it's a privilege to look after clients' money. We have a responsibility. We know, because we ask those powerful questions, we've got some really deep understanding. And I thought, actually, as I said earlier, money, it's more than just the numbers. It's more than just profit. It's about what you can do with it and the difference you can make, and how it's been brilliant from the clients. The clients have loved it because it protects our legacy, protects my legacy, but it's empowered the team, which is what I've always liked doing, and I've empowered the team, and they have elevated so much. But culture was key. We had really good culture, and actually it's about allowing the staff to operate, as I see it, with psychological safety. So we've never had targets, we've never had direct commissions. And so actually they can breathe, they can express their personality within the realms and the structure of the business. And I'm seeing this pay me back in spades. I say pay me back because I feel really fulfilled about what I've done. So
you've passed over ownership via a trust structure.
That's right. So they're indirect owners. There's trustees sit in between. The trustees, I had the trustee meeting yesterday. they call me to account to make sure I'm adhering to the principles of the EOT.
Yeah.
But, I'm like pleasing teach myself, because when I go to that meeting, I want to knock it out of the park. So they're so chuffed with what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, so we've got EOT champions, we've got ESG champions.
Yeah.
And we're doing lots of work in the community. And we're pulling all that together with an app, which we've talked about briefly before, which coordinates environmental issues. It encourages exercise, but it's also a domain to actually connect with the team.
Right.
But also allows them to connect and offers resources, be it sort of menopause, mental health, or whatever. So it's really vibrant. It's a living being rather than one-off talks. You have a talk from somebody about well-being. So it's really difficult, I think, with the well-being. But again, I'm letting the team run it.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. So I see it like a dressing room culture. So in team sports, so they are. I've set the scene. I've set the structure. I don't have to say much now because they're running it.
Yeah.
And they're living the value. So before I did the EOT, I asked them to write a book of culture.
Yeah, so they were responsible for defining what culture meant to the business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we had really good culture. So the culture, has it changed? No, the culture hasn't changed, but it's elevated.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
Yeah. And they know their destiny because they're in their own masters of their own destiny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The idea of the EOT is that's never sold.
Yes.
And so
is that enshrined in the legislation or in the...
No, not enshrined in legislation, because there are times when so for instance, if trustees thought financially it wasn't working, they could say, we want to sell it. But the whole principle of it is that it's never sold.
Yeah.
And that's my view, and that's what I've written down
in the Constitution.
In my terms, really.
Yeah.
And it's great because it's also attracting new staff. It's certainly retaining talent, and it's also brilliant because we've become a beacon.
Yeah.
And then we're being attracted, or we're getting attraction from like-minded companies.
Yeah.
And then companies who want to follow that pathway.
Yeah.
So when we did it, was only just over 1,000 companies have become an EOT since the legislation 2014, but that's gathering pace.
Yeah.
So it's great to be able to influence people in a positive way in that domain as well.
No, it's really inspiring, Gary, and I think you're certainly sort of breaking with convention in the way that people from the outside would see a financial advice firm and the kind of impact and power it can have in the local community.
Yeah, no, I'm really chuffed, and I still think we've got a long way to go because I'm never satisfied. But that's probably what drives me as well, because we could always be better.
Yeah.
But it's making sure you have your tribe. And your tribe of clients, and we spend a lot of time onboarding clients, so they understand the ethos, they understand the approach, and guess what? I don't want to be complacent, but clients generally don't leave us, and because they're embedded and intertwined, and we've got something special, so why would we jeopardize that in any way?
Yeah. Gary, this has been really, really great to talk. We ask every guest on the series the same final question. With this idea of connection and bringing people in from different spheres and continuing this conversation, could you recommend someone to come onto this video series next?
I certainly could. The one that springs to mind is James Parks. Mm-hmm. He used to be the conditioning coach at Exeter Chiefs Rugby Club, and was a conditioning coach through their meteoric rise. And of course, being a conditioning coach, you're also a mentor, sounding board, aren't you? Probably a coach of a different guise as well. And so you're hearing all what people are saying, and this is an elite sport. So he set out to create an app which coordinates, as I touched on before, coordinates exercise, and you get planet points. Planet points are carbon offsets. Also, it's engagement, because don't suffer in silence. Be part of a team, be part of a community, but also it's good causes. It's kudos to staff, and that's really working well for us. Okay. So we've been a pilot for this, and he's just now about to launch into some big companies, and he's like Tigger. He's brilliant, and he's a really good guy.
Yeah.
And because he's such a good guy, and because he's got a really good solution, he's attracting people from across the globe, actually.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm really pleased to support him.
Yeah. No, that would be great to get in contact with him.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Gary.
No, it's been a privilege and an honour, and thank you very much.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks.
Okay.
To keep up to date with the rest of the Connected Capital series, please visit our website via the link below or head to our Spotify and YouTube channels.